Okay, well, my name is Carl Craig West from Auckland Business Builders, and I help tiny businesses get to grips with their marketing system with a proven marketing system that takes as little as 90 minutes a week once it's all set up. No theory, no flannel, no jargon, no waffle, just stuff that's been proven to work. So that's what I do. And if you want to know more, Auckland Business Builders is where I'm at. Right, so ABCs of marketing. Oh no. That's it. Right, some of you have seen this before. If there's anything I can tattoo onto your brain, it's this. Once I got to grips with this in my last business, which was an award-winning web design and marketing business, we doubled our sales in just under 9 months. Our month-on-month sales. Just under 9 months by learning to get to grips with this. And it didn't take us hours every day. I've got it nailed to the point where I was doing about 25 minutes a day just on marketing because the system was set up. And it worked. So, if nothing else, that's the one you should take away. But anyway. Alright, the ABCs of marketing. Marketing is actually quite straightforward, and sadly the marketing industry wants to make it more complicated so you won't understand what's going on and you'll pay them to do it. And I'm in the marketing industry and we're all charlatans. Well, most of us. Well, that's not strictly true. But the point is that there's a heck of a lot of jargon that goes with marketing. I used to work in web design. It's jargon like you wouldn't believe. So many TLAs, it's just unreal. But marketing boils down to 3 fairly straightforward things. Who you're selling to, what you're saying to them, and how you're going to reach them. Audience, your broadcast, boast, brag, and the channels. So what I want you to do is have a think about who you are selling to right now. And I want you to make some very brief notes. Now, this could be very broad for you, in which case you need to have a think about what's the kind of person I would like to work with. Because what happens is if you focus on the kind of person you would like to work with, you will likely attract those people. It just needs to be clear in your mind. Now here's the interesting thing. Fewer than 1 in 20 small businesses will do this exercise. So it's no small wonder that 95+% of marketing doesn't work because it's aimed at the wrong people. Make sense? Right, 60 seconds. You can write 1 words. Who you're selling to, what are they like, where are they, who are they, how old are they, what gender are they, where, all these things. Is there an age, is there a frustration, etc. And stop. Now based on this, I would like to tell you a short story, and forgive me if I told it before. I did a seminar for a bunch of startup businesses, gosh, 10 years ago, something like that now. And there was some poor soul sitting in the front row, and I said, who's your target audience? And he said, no, I asked him what type of business he was in. He said, I'm a gardener. I said, okay, who's your target client? Anybody with a garden. Right, great. So what we're going to do tomorrow is we're going to go to the nearest council estate, which is an estate with low income, social housing. Those who are British will know what that means. Okay? I said, they've all got gardens. And he said, I'm not sure that would work. Well, you said anybody with a garden. He said, yeah, but a lot of them are on very low incomes and probably wouldn't be able to afford a gardener. Okay, fair enough. So you don't want poor people, is that what you're saying? He said, yes. I say, great. What we'll do then is we'll go to a suburb of Leicester called Oadby. Frightfully middle class. Everybody's got a garden. We'll go there. And he says, well, I'm not sure that would work either. I said, okay, why not? He said, well, there's a lot of elderly people in Oadby and a lot of them do their own gardening. That's their form of exercise. So you don't want old folks and you don't want poor people. Right. And we carried on with this exercise for a little while, and it turns out he wanted to reach working families in the villages right on the outskirts of the city. Because working families tend to be very busy. Most of the houses out there have got gardens, but these people typically have no time, despite how much they love their garden and like spending time in it, they don't have the time, but they've got the money to spend on looking after it. So I said, that's where you do your marketing. And I said, all you do is just go leafleting the whole areas. Give people a reason to talk to you, and it works. He'd identified his target audience. He knew where they were, what kind of person they were. There was certainly an age demographic, a location demographic. He knew their frustrations and their problems with not having enough time to look after the beautiful garden they paid way over the odds for. And he knew their stresses. he worked out this target audience with a little bit of nudging, that it wasn't just anybody with some breath in a garden. Okay? And if you can do this kind of thing, your marketing will be far more targeted. And as I said, 95% of marketing is badly targeted because the company doing the marketing doesn't fully understand who they're trying to sell to. So I run Auckland Business Builders. Guess where I prefer to work? Well done. Largely because I like spending face-to-face time. I could work with anybody in the world, but I prefer to spend time with my clients. I don't want to work with people in Waikato, largely because I'm not keen. I don't want to spend 2 hours for a meeting and then another 2 hours back. For a 1 hour meeting, that's almost a whole working day. And to me, that's dead time. Yes, we could work remotely, but as some of you will know, there's nothing like sitting with somebody and working with them. It's because you develop that in-person connection. And that's how I like to work. So I could, in theory, work anywhere, but I prefer Auckland. It's bad enough having to get to Mount Eden. That takes me like 40 minutes from home. It's just over the bridge. Or an hour to get back if you're coming at 3 o'clock. But, so I understand my audience. I understand their frustrations. I understand there's no gender type of person. Funnily enough, I don't have a single client under the age of 35. Because I work well with people of a certain age group. I didn't consciously make this, it just happened. When I have my web design business, 80% of my clients are women. That's no longer the case. I'm obviously losing my sex appeal. But the point is, I hadn't worked this out. It just became that way. Oh, thanks, Greg. Love you. But it just became that way. So my graphic designer and I worked out a methodology to speak more to women business owners. Because between her, Claire, and I, we connected well with women business owners at that time. And we developed a market plan narrative. We developed a demographic without even trying. Okay. Does that all make sense? Cool. Once you understand your audience, you should be able to understand what problems you are solving. Most businesses are problem solvers in some way, shape or form. I don't quite know what problems golf clubs and handbags solve, but they certainly sell a lot of them. But this is the bit where you work out what you are doing for your audience. They don't buy because it's you, they don't buy because of what you do, they buy because you do something for them or their business. What are they getting out of talking to you? And again, so few people get this because they don't get the first bit right. If you don't know who you're selling to, how are you going to know what to say to them? Okay, 60 seconds, have we go. And stop there. Right, who's ever heard the question, so what? Yeah, that's the question you're answering here. Yay, we've got this stuff! So what? What's in it for me? That is the reason people buy. They will only ever buy if they can see something in it for them, except handbags and golf clubs. So, what's in it for me? How are you making my life better? How are you making my business better? What benefits are you bringing? Are you going to save me money, make me money, save me stress? Are you going to dump the stress onto somebody else? Are you going to make me feel better by making me look better, if you're a beautician, for example? What are the reasons people buy? Now, the cool thing is, this is actually very easy to work out. You've only got to start asking your customers, why did you come to us? What have you had out of this relationship? And they will tell you, assuming they're happy with what you've done. Okay? Make sense? Right, next bit. Now here's the tricky bit. And this is where most marketing tends to focus. But the thing is, if you don't know who you're selling to, and you don't know what you're saying to them, this is pretty much irrelevant because you'll just be chucking mud at a wall in marketing, hoping it will work. And marketing doesn't work like that. It's very much cause and effect. But you need to have those causes in place. Who you're selling to, you nail that. What you're saying to them, you nail that. Once you've worked out who they are and where they are, this doesn't become almost self-explanatory, but it becomes an awful lot easier. So, for example, if you're selling B2B, TikTok is going to be a challenge as a marketing channel. It's not to say you can't, but you need an incredibly well worked out methodology for turning people you're connected with on TikTok to get them into your sales funnel. LinkedIn, on the other hand, makes absolute sense. It's where all the business people go and post photographs of their lunch. So, but it is a B2B channel. Does that make sense? Coming to networking events, if you run a hairdresser's on the other side of the city, first of all, it wouldn't work for me, but it makes no sense. Why? Because people tend to go to local people, particularly for personal care, and Yes, most of us in the room would need a hairdresser at some point, but would you legitimately drive to the other side of the city to see somebody you don't know? Arguably not. Unless you've been referred and your friends rave about them, in which case that's one of your marketing channels. Okay? So have a think about where they are. Where do they hang out? What kind of things do they do? Are there particular social media, for example, that go? Do they go to events? Do they congregate in certain places? Now, I've always found it funny that businesses sponsor rugby clubs and sports clubs. I bet they're not even taking a look at whether that spend brings in a return on investment. They're just investing in spending this money. For example, I once suggested that putting a lingerie advert in a football magazine probably wouldn't work. However, I know a bit about footballers, and to be fair, maybe it would. But the number of people in your target audience for buying lingerie in a football magazine is tiny. Not to say you won't get something out of it, but it's tiny. However, a lingerie advert in a women's lifestyle magazine would be perfect. Why? Because most of lingerie is bought by women. That's just the way it is. Okay? So, have a think about who they are, where they are. So, 60 seconds. Have a go. And just in case you're wondering, I think I might struggle with what to do and where to put my marketing stuff, here's just a few ideas. And that is far from exhaustive. The point is, there's no shortage of ways to reach your target audience. Really none. The hardest part is to work out which ones to use most effectively. And in many respects, you should be using as many of these as you possibly can, whilst making your marketing manageable. The last thing you need to be doing is sacrificing the work that you're getting paid for the sake of doing more marketing. So there has to become a balance, and this is where a marketing system comes into its own. Now, a few things I want to point out. A CRM. You should be marketing through a CRM and an email marketing system directly to your customers and also to your potential customers. You need two different Boast broadcasts or messages for each one. Premium products and upsells. Who's ever heard the phrase, would you like to go large with that? When McDonald's introduced it, they added 30% to their sales and 17% to net profit overnight. How big of a deal was it? Would you like to go large with that? Do you have a premium product? Would you like the basic service, or would you like the, we're going to make you feel so sexy there's no way you cannot buy this service? Nearly every business can produce an upsell or a premium product. I've seen very few exceptions. So Angela and I are working on a way to have an upsell in the service. Okay? Simply because a surprisingly large number of people will go large with that if asked. It worked for McDonald's. 17% increase in net profit overnight. What do you get for your money? A few extra fries and some more soda. Because that's going to be good for you, right? Well, it's certainly good for McDonald's profits. So, can you add an upsell or a premium product? And here's the thing. Dave Brailsford, I know we've discussed this, was the British Olympic cycling coach, and he also coached Team Sky to be the most successful Tour de France team in history. And his big deal was the aggregation of marginal gains. Making small gains, small improvements, compounded over time. If you made a 1% per week improvement in your marketing results, now 1% is not a lot, it would more than double your business by the end of the year. More than double it, just 1% a week. But Dave was on the money. Business is this, the aggregation of marginal gains. And that's it. Any questions related to what I've just said? And no, polar bears don't get lonely, just in case you're wondering. Sorry? Good at this. Any thoughts? Sticky points? Challenges? You've all got a page of notes and you go back and you're going to say, look guys, I've got this. Yes? Sometimes it is obvious, and I'll put the slides and the video, like I said, into the Facebook group for us. So that's it. If you've got any questions, come talk to me, or businessbuilders.co.nz. Thank you very much.